Three, two, one. All right, we are live. We are live. Greetings, everybody. Hakia Me here, the Success Scholar. Thank you for tuning in. It's a beautiful day. Hope you are enjoying the 3-day weekend, or maybe a 4-day weekend, 5-day weekend, depending on how you roll. But definitely a pleasure to join you here. But I wanted to, have this conversation. Of course, many of you have seen some of my videos where I sometimes offer critiques of various individuals. And uh, just recently, there was a recent incident. Of course, many people, I mean, even individuals I work with have seen the Kwame Brown incidents and the Stephen A. Smith. But one of the individuals involved in these discussions was Dr. Boyce Watkins. Now, I've known Dr. Watkins for quite some time, not like really on a personal basis, but, through different events. We've spoke at some events, and he's been at a conference. And I actually went to see him in D.C. when he did come, so came to D.C. Sometimes I say I'll give every individual at least one try. I try to support different things because I have my hands in so many things that I really feel like, regardless of, where I go, I always have something to offer or something that I can learn. So, but recently, Dr. Boyce Watkins involved himself in the Kwame Brown dispute or discussion, and Kwame had some mama's cooking for him.
Right.
But I have a brother on the line, and we've talked about the work of Dr. Boyce Watkins. On, of course, I
Right.
mean, I would have hoped over some time that he could perhaps just stick to what he's good at, what he knows, what he went to school for. But sometimes one day talk about Cardi B and Lizzo and just about everything else. So he's pushing himself up into these spaces as an academician, and now he's opening up himself, right, to people to look at you like, well, what are you doing, right? So I have Brother Ace over here, the Black Order Podcast, brother. So I'll just let you open up, brother. Just share. We can have a good dialogue. But I call this the life, Dr. Boyce Watkins, his life and his legacy. And first, let me ask you this. So how long ago, and I know it's been perhaps a long time, when you first found out about Dr. Boyce Watkins?
I found out about Boyce Watkins when he had appeared a lot. He's always pop up on anything mentioning Tariq Rashid's Hidden Colors. He would pop up on the financial, Black the YouTube page about just topics, your Black world.
Okay.
At the time.
Okay.
I would see Boyce Watkins, and then I met him like 3 times. And I seen him, in person 3 times. I bought his book called it's called Financial Relationships, something like that. It's about economics and who you interact with in a relationship. You have to share finances together. Oh, Financial Lovemaking is this book.
Okay.
So I met him 3 times. My experience with him, he knows his finances pretty good, pretty well. But, I still question some of it because of how he operates in the universe doing business, like socially with the peers on YouTube, or his picking of people who he affiliate with. So, over the time, seeing Dr. Boyce Watkins, I started to question his motives, his agenda, his theory, and how he really is as a person. Because when he came on good, he captured everybody with selling financial classes. But then when you really seen how he did business, you was like, well, really, are you a financial guru in this area, or you just a good, intelligent, intellectual schemer? Because at the time, Boyce Watkins had beef with many people he wasn't paying, and he put them in pedestals to run his companies and businesses on YouTube. And at the time, yeah.
So let's get back. So some of these people, let's name some names so people can know and put some names. So
So
we ain't just
I'm gonna go down the list. So
right.
yeah, so the YouTube universe calls him Boyce Watkins because it's his simping. His simping has what's caused this disease effect. I call it the voice effect, because that's what they were saying today, the voice effect. So he slimed Yvette Carnell, he slimed Paris Milan, he brought Cynthia G on, and then he interacted with Zaza. So what he did that made the universe of YouTube and men was questioning him. He had got all these different women who had all these different beefs with men and masculinity and different issues. Even though he owed them money and he did them wrong in doing business, he still gave ones platforms that really never deserved a voice. Because most people was nobodies till they met YouTube. They're not like me and you, who was already having a life, getting a life, doing things big and making shakers and movers. Some of these people was just, who they were. But when he gave somebody like Cleon Synthetic G a microphone, it just took it to a whole nother level. This lady was attacking Jason Black. She was attacking Tariq Rashid. She put Tariq Rashid's address out every other month. She would go in about Tariq Rashid's mother-in-law and his wife. So
on Boyce's platform.
She started off on her own doing
okay.
it. But then, but when it came to Yvette Carnell, he let Yvette Carnell disrespect Mr. Farrakhan on his platform. Now, so it started out doing that, letting Cynthia G throw shots at brothers all the time. And then eventually Cynthia G figured out how to do her own and then grew an audience off the bitterness energy. That's how it started. Paris Milan called him out for his BS. And then with the Zaza thing, it was kind of like he was just all in hopes of her because she was a yellow bone. I really believe. And they were trying to do something off the ground. But the reason why I had issue with the Zaza issue, because the Zaza issue was Nick at the time, she was beefing with Tariq Rashid, and then she was beefing with Professor Griff. So it was like, why would you co-sign a woman who is giving Professor Griff and Tariq Rashid an issue or a problem when these guys has gave some of their best time and energy to the community?
Right.
Just why? It's like literally, that's like, you know what I'm saying? You giving your ops ex-wife a position on your stage to do business. So he kept doing that, and then over time, so we look at all the
I forgot. I'm glad you brought that up because I sort of forgot some of these different. I mean, now you sort of refreshing my memory, and I remember thinking like, man, why you gotta like find these retreads? You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have your own like people that you could just like bring up. You gotta be getting people that fell out with Griff or fell out with Tariq. So it's like, I mean, you don't have no other women that you think
because he's an instigator, and so then he got Michi X, and he fell out with Michi X because she called him out. So you have all these different, and when you see the Black News, Your World News, you see all the people. If you go back to the old video 3 or 4 years ago, you see all the faces he had on there. He had Rima Kamama, he had him on there too. I don't know. I never looked into the issue of the guys, but most of the females, he had a lot of females on there. So then he had one lady on there he was dating or he was in love with. I believe, and I know for a fact.
Who's that?
I don't know her name. She's the one that kept trying to trigger Umar Johnson. I believe he sicked her on Umar Johnson, and it triggered the whole energy of Umar because Boyce Watkins was the one that really actually instigated the Umar and Tariq Rashid beef. People don't know that in their community because our community forget real quick. He instigated that by young lady kept calling him out about just nitpicking public questions instead of calling him, on the low.
Yeah, I remember her.
Yeah. And that's the one they said that he took and stole her identity of the whole mathematics of the setup of black businesses and black Wall Street and black stock. And he
Right.
gave half his brothers the shares, or he split it with his brother and stole it, took her intellectual
No,
property.
she the one who did the lawsuit, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, and then he took Michi X intellectual property too. So
Okay.
so he's been doing these little things, and then he caused the beef between what's the dude on the Legacy Center? Uh
Jay
yeah, Jay, what's his name? Jay
Morrison.
yeah, Jay Morrison. He created a little beef between Jay Morrison and Tariq at the time. So he's always been causing little beefs and little mischievous conflict between men. And if you really look at it, Jay Morrison and Tyreek always liked each other. And I'm glad they got peace now with each other. But Tyreek is an easy person to get along with. But Boyce Watkins loved to embellish things to get things like kind of in a way he throws shots at people. Like he just threw a shots at the basketball player just recently.
Kwame.
Trying to give people, ideas to take down his channel so he have freedom of speech and freedom of empowerment.
Yeah, I missed that. I saw some of the after conversations of A. Smith.
A couple of rappers had beef with Boyce Watkins too.
Say that again?
A couple of rappers had beef with Boyce Watkins.
Yeah, no, I know it's one that kind of blew up online. He got a video. Dr. Boyce Watkins is a 5-letter word. So, and that's, and I never realized, and I don't know, the creator, Tyler, the Creator is his name?
Tyler, the Creator. He real creative and funny as shit, but he had beef with Boyce because Boyce stopped his money flow by causing this little, whatever it was. But, Boyce did it to more than one rapper. I think it's at least 2 or 3. But Boyce has always had his little beady eyes looking Ninja Turtle self into something. And now he really put himself into something when he told the black community just recently, he said that all brothers should be stepdads. And we should take on the problems of, hood rat reality or broken woman reality when some of these women need mental therapy and they need counseling and they need psychological help. See, Boyce gives the worst advice. And so a lot of guys is like, what? You need to stick with finances. Don't be telling me to do this when you can't even, you're not even rich yourself. I'm supposed to take advice from you about how to do, and you marrying a woman who swerved you years ago, and now you marrying her, and now you telling me that I'm supposed to go along to do what you did and follow through with you. So people don't want to hear that.
So let's go back. So I didn't see the part where he said something about people should be stepdads or something. I'll just say it's I don't think, for instance, it's there's going to be challenges with these blended families. I think ultimately the people, of course, need to be functional, adults, before we talk about just being with anybody's children, mama, or something, because that can just lead to other challenges.
And these women are not coachable. So to tell men that and give the young men that advice, well, half these women can't even boil an egg, and you telling us to sign up for problems that we don't even know we dealing with is ridiculous. Yes, we know the community is hurting. Yes, we know these families need men. But a lot of these men didn't create these situations or these problems.
I agree.
And I know it's when he pandering. Pandering mean that he never get on women about laying down with Pookies and Ray Rays and get used up and then come back later on looking for a husband. He never hold black women accountable. And yes, this year I'm gonna make it a lifestyle, like the Thanos, the Guardians of the Guardians, to bang on every guy, every scholar, every professor who don't hold women accountable, even women themselves. Because for 30, 50 years, people have been banging on men to do what they need to do. And really, our problem is it's not these dudes, it's these sisters that really just ain't getting with the program to see what time it is. So
Mm.
and at the end of the day, he's been an instigator, and he sits back and watch. Like I know he sent Fly Nubian Queen to attack Kevin Samuels. He's been a person who sits back, who sends people to attack people to see the response. He don't want to do it himself because he know if he come after Kevin Samuels himself, it'll be a lot of soldiers. Foot soldiers will come after him. The Manosphere, the Red Pill, the Midtown will come and eat him alive. So he sent what's her name? Fly
Vicky?
Nubian. He sent
Yeah.
Vicky.
Okay, no, I didn't. I've never watched like more than 2 minutes of anything she
Yeah,
does.
yeah. She sounds like a passive female. He sent her. He probably ain't even paying her well. He sent her to attack Kevin.
Well, according to Michi, he's not
No, he's not. He's not.
right, and that's really
And that's
one of the
horrible.
things. You got to pay your people, and that goes for Umar Johnson too, who feels that he doesn't have to pay workers to build a
Right.
school. Like, man, ain't no real men just gonna be slaving. This ain't no Dr. York out here. And I made it my business to do a compare and contrast. And not that everybody's gonna be freaky like Dr. York, but the whole pimp job of trying to get men to work for free, or you know what I'm saying. And granted,
Mm-hmm.
people who may do some things for you, you know what I'm saying, but somebody
Right.
that has a family, you better off finding some little college students, or some little high school students, or I mean, some young, go to a young apprenticeship program and
Right.
find it like that. But and if you translate that into, say, for instance, the YouTube space where people are working for nothing, it's like, man, when does this end? And I've heard it on several times from other people about Dr. Boyce Watkins, not paying people for creating their online content. So you
You
know
remember he had all the people on his show. You remember he had his own. He had a whole page, even though he only does goods because he sells some products. But we had Yvette Carnell, expose the product and how she lived. I think in her mother's house because he wasn't paying her. She lost everything because of him. And she
right.
went in on him because he made her suffer when it didn't have to happen. So he's been selfish and greedy, and no one should listen to his advice. If he's going to talk his financial wisdom that he claimed that he know, then he needs to just stick with that. When it comes to relationship stuff, it's certain people who don't need to be talking about relationship things. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's just not in their field.
Right. Well, so let's, and not to, I mean, I didn't, I heard a few pieces, some of the things that you sent me about uh, his, relationship with his wife, and the proposal, and, the fact that she has 4 children by 2 child mothers. And perhaps she was married, I don't know. But, we would hope that she was married to both of her children's fathers. I mean, that would have been this responsible thing for her to do.
Yeah, he's a simp, and he knows he's a simp. He's,
Yeah.
people was getting on. Minister Jeff had me laughing today. Minister Jeff, Red Supreme, they was getting on him, and so was Odu Jackson. Peace to Odu Jackson. It was all getting on him today because he do too much, and he does a lot, and he tries to sit back and throw monkey wrenches at people. And he does everything he's getting, And you know why people really have the worst for him? Because he gave Cynthia G power.
Wow.
He gave real, true, evil feminists power on YouTube, and they're
Mm.
banging on everybody and causing havoc. That's the
Yeah.
major issue. Because if you look at the son of people he gave power to the rise to fame, look, Cynthia G, Yvette Carnell, Paris Milan. Let's look at that. They're all from Boyce Watkins. or
Mm.
Boyce Watkins. They're all from his chambers. He gave them leverage, and Zaza. He gave them leverage.
Wow.
This lady was banging all on fucking daggone Professor Griff, and trying to mess with Tyreek, and he gave her a privilege to speak at these conferences.
Right.
He kept them alive. They were supposed to go away. Go away. You're a troublemaker. Go away. You know?
And Boyce and Professor Griff, he said something about that before. So, so he wasn't pleased, shall I
Hopefully
say.
he'll see this Professor Griff. Hopefully he'll see this video and start laughing. He's like, yeah, I remember that. Yup. He happy with this new marriage. Happy now.
Right.
But Professor Griff, I'm happy for him. He'll see this video and he'll bust out laughing.
Wow. No, so let's dwell on this, and let me just share a story, and one thing, I don't have any children, and one thing I always I try to be respectful, but one thing, when you are doing what you're supposed to do, most men are going to attempt to create a life with a quality woman, and they aren't going to, tolerate any foolishness. Now, I hope, that that's not the case. But when you are attempting to raise other people's children, uh, you know,
Yeah.
there can be a lot of challenges, with that. And I'll just give an example, for instance, that, once upon a time when I was, courting a woman, she had a child. And, it was just like he was like caught up in like the thug music and the weed smoking, right?
Right.
And, I just couldn't, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I like my peace. I don't want no little hood dudes hanging around. You know what I'm saying? I'm like
Right.
living my life like that. And I mean, not to compare and contrast, but sometimes when a child may not necessarily be your own, and not to not to paint a broad brush with every situation, every scenario, but you know, um, but getting back to the thing about him, telling men, that they need that's going to make them more manly or something like that. I mean, no, that's not. I mean, especially like how you did it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I agree with the brother who, suggested, like, I mean, you try to get with this woman early on in your life and in your career. For instance, she wasn't trying to hear you. She wasn't feeling what you were talking about, and I mean, you got to feel a little confident about yourself. After a while, I mean, like for real, like you got to feel like that you deserve a quality woman, not somebody that rejected you. You know what I'm saying? So something, in his processes, and I know perhaps it could have been a challenge because I think he had a child out of wedlock with a woman, right? He has a daughter himself, right? So I know that he didn't necessarily have that family structure. He wasn't married to his child's mother, and well, I don't believe he was, but so sometimes that can create a void where this society is telling people you have to be married in order to be a man, or to be accepted in certain spaces, or respected in certain spaces, and ultimately it's not true. I mean, as we see, for instance, I'll just take let's go to Kevin Samuels, who I think he was married twice. Not
Right.
but on the other end of that, Umar Johnson, wasn't married, none. You see what I'm saying? He has two children, I wasn't married. I don't have any. You know what I'm saying? And yes, I'm always with women, of course. But and I believe that these two, for the most part, have been as well. But what are we saying with that? What are we saying when we tell young brothers that, oh, I mean, it may seem honorable, right, to say go out here and take care of other men's children, but you set yourself up, and I want to say one more thing. I know a brother in Baltimore who had a challenge. His child's mother, no, not. I'm sorry. His girlfriend's, maybe his wife's son. They got in a little beef, and he like shot him. And it's just crazy sometimes that you gotta like really, you would have hoped that the brother would have used
Right.
better judgment, or I mean, I ain't gonna say use better judgment, but he put his freedom, on the line because of somebody else's, some black man perhaps irresponsibility and not, taking care of their children or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, that creates more dysfunction, more family dysfunction as well. So to promote that as a, some type of philosophical, way of doing things, I'm not thinking that that's necessarily a
Well,
priority.
like I look at it as people will be all hard, be harsh. I'm hard on Dr. Boyce Watkins because he has been doing shit for years and playing the fence, getting away with it. He has given some of the power to some of the most craziest females that's taken over the internet and it's caused many problems for us.
Mm,
He
wow.
he instigated a lot of little things for Tyreek and people, just doing things that just
Yeah.
the most. And I ain't cool with it. And like piece to OD Jackson have a good point that when you see the simping part, other communities don't have to go through all of that. And like with Voice, where he's at educational wise, he could have got a younger woman telling guys like get somebody that got a lot of issues, a lot of problems. I can see
Mm,
if he would have did that, that would have made more sense. But to share all the part where you've been curbed and then you come back and settle for somebody, it's just like it's crazy. That's why Minister Jeff today, peace to Minister Jeff and the church, they were all going in on him today because he gave bad advice and he gave the risen to the wrong individuals on the internet. And so brothers has got beef with him because he has not been his fair share. And he only pandered to sisters. He never told them that they're out of line on anything. You remember at one time, Boyce Watkins used to go shoot shots at Tommy. Matter of fact, he tried to send what's her name? Michi X to attack Tommy for no reason.
right.
You see what I'm saying? Just to try to push him up to the level to cause confusion of drama. The Voice likes stuff like that. And so,
Wow.
when I seen him do that and I seen him like he back say stuff about Pharaoh that was wrong, I was just like, yo, what are you doing, dude? What are you doing here at this point? So, at the end of the day, he's getting his fair share. And the
Mm,
lady, how she's bossing him around or has that look like she's gonna dominate him, he deserves it. I really believe that's his punishment, being in prison at all costs.
wow.
Because when you look at that Cynthia G, when she goes live, she has over 5,000 sisters listening to her talking the most bitter poison in our
Wow.
community. And she is selling poison and
Wow.
selling death to black women. And Boyce Watkins gave her life. He gave her life. This woman,
Wow.
if you go see Cynthia G's page, it's death. Her voice alone made both my dogs run up under the bed. Do you understand? Like
Yeah.
literally, like my two dogs ran. They run when I play her voice. And
Mm,
when you really look at Cynthia G, she went after Tyreek. She went after Jason Black, harassing them and trolling them. So trolling Professor Truth. And like Jason, like Tyreek said, he was trying to be nice to, you know what I'm saying, to Cheddar Man, you know. Then this lady got pregnant, and then all of a sudden, we're Dusty Coon Betty Nails, and Boyce Watkins gave power to that. That's all I ever hear her talk about.
Right.
You
Well,
know.
let me tell you. So, I first, well, not first met him, but he did something at Howard University. Now, that was at the School of Business. I went up there. I can't remember. I don't think I stayed there, but I recall giving him my book, right?
Right.
The book
Yeah.
of George Fraser and Les Brown. And I recall when I had the opportunity to speak in Cleveland, Ohio, and I believe he was invited there to speak as well. And we were in the back. I mean, we took pictures with, some people. And I remember him saying in front of me that, oh, yeah, I got your book. He said that to Dr. Frazier, right? And I was like, he said he got the book. And I was like, I'm sitting right there, and he didn't even like acknowledge that he got it from me. You know what I'm saying? Right. That was the first thing. That was, the first thing that I was just like, okay, so like, I mean, and I don't push up on anybody, like as a groupie. You know what I'm saying? And maybe that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? I sort of. Like I give you, I gave him a book, you know what I'm saying? A matter of fact, and I think perhaps I recall speaking to one of his producers at one time, who's someone he's not necessarily working with him right now, but so I may have reached out to him maybe once or twice or something. But I recall even some years later. Well, I went to his another conference he did, like in Baltimore at the
I went to that one too.
The one, it was like a Saturday or something.
Yeah, but the movie theater. The theater.
Oh, I think I might have seen you there then.
Yeah, you seen me there, and then you seen me at the one, we was at the one at Howard.
Okay. So, but then there was it was something in DC. It was called a Black Men's Conference or something. And I actually, and I actually spoke just before him. But I guess he might have been like the keynote or something. And what I did, I brought him a book, like more of a, what was it? I think this was it was about the slaves that became millionaires. Yeah. I knew he didn't have the book. I mean, that's what I do. Sometimes, like to be like a scholar / somebody who assisting people with books I believe that are valuable, that we need to get out to the rest of the community. I just gave it to him, and you would think, and I don't know if I followed up after that. I may have given him my card or something, but you would think, because I'm not begging to be like on your platform or interview with you or anything like that. But I just put it out there. But then I'll keep it going for real. But but I mentioned those two things because I know that Michi X said something about how he classifies people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And whatever perceived value he thinks some people have, whether it's monetary or perceived esteem or something. So that made me realize, things are kind of coming together. But once, and I just close with this. I'll let you say something. he was at the Power Networking Conference, and that's what Dr. Frazier, Dr. George Frazier, puts together, and that was in Houston, Texas, right?
Right.
Now, and he spoke there. I mean, and I don't know what was the play or the moves, but you know, I'm in so many different circles now. I mean, I can feel like I can speak freely, you know what I'm saying? So, but I recall that he got up there in front of everybody and said, "We need to have this event at a black hotel or you know a black establishment." And I mean, granted, you know that's a good wishful thinking.
Right.
You feel me? But to offer a criticism like that in front of, you know, then these are some pretty, you know, it's some pretty big, respectable people in the room. So
Right.
if you think you the only one that think like that or came up with that genius thought, like you ain't the only one that think that we should be doing that. Like you think Frazier or somebody else don't think that we should have conferences at you know a black hotel or business establishment, but you know, and that's a challenge you have. Like, okay, well, what
Right.
you gonna do, Boyce? Either you gonna have it in some little space where you can't fit that many people, or you know, have people piling up somewhere, or you're not gonna do it, or just do it online, and
Right.
that's what it is. So yeah, but you know, sometimes you know, I think he says things and he doesn't think about you know the audience, shall I say,
Right.
the audience and the perception of what he does, and that's where wisdom come in. I think sometimes ego will make you feel like you can say anything to anybody, and people just supposed to listen, and that's the challenge with these PhD Negroes. You know what I'm saying? Because unfortunately, many they're smart in their particular area, but it doesn't mean that's the most relevant to every scenario. But
Right.
unfortunately, to uneducated people or people who may not necessarily have confidence in many different areas, they'll just take his uh, opinions about any and everything, hook, line, and sinker, without
Right.
thinking about it, because they don't have a broad perspective of knowledge to know is he making sense about some things,
Right.
and that was what you know some people were saying, even with his relationship, not just his advice, but his choice. You know, because
Right.
you can't have no real confidence, I believe, with a woman that rejected you years ago, and you coming back and and now you the has been, you know, you the
Mhm.
down dude. So yeah, that's definitely a challenge. But go ahead, brother.
I think he doing that. You know, it could be many reasons. I can't say why he ain't doing it, but he's simping. He know he's simping, but all the clowning he getting what he deserved because he created a lot of problems for people for the last 3 years, 3 or 4 years. I believe he did slime Yvette Cornell, Michi X. I believe he did try to deceive Paris Milan. I believe that he's did a lot of things, and I believe he was behind a lot of instigating between Professor Griff and Tyreek. I just it's just some things about him that he's done that ain't
Wow,
masculine and ain't friendly and it's not agreeableness. But he'll
wow,
have to he'll take that smoke with his new relationship with his wife. You know what I'm saying? That's just how I look at it. It's just gonna play. We'll let that play out, and most people are going to reject anything he's saying now because from what the list is, new female comers are coming out explaining about how Boyce Watkins has swat walked them in situations where not paying them or using them for their intellectual property.
Oh, right. Yeah, no, I saw.
UTX was talking about that.
Right. Yeah, I saw Michi saying that it's like 5 or 6 individuals that that have reached out to her that feel.
And you know, him and Umar really get me. Oh, sister queen, queen, queen. And they do the most, but they pander the most because they get money off of this. Everybody knows that
Mm.
you can sell the. I mean, when you look at Boyce Watkins, he's a Dirk Jackson with a PhD degree. When you look at Umar is a Dirk Jackson with a kufi and with a Pan African symbol. That's how you look at it. Because Dirk Jackson was a Pookie. He was a what you call a Pookie nigga nerd that figured out how to sell black women, you know what I'm saying, false hopes and ideas and concepts. And so he made 30 million off of it. But when you look at Umar Johnson,
Say that again. He did what?
so people don't notice that Derrick Jackson made 30 million off of hustling
Wow.
system. Yeah, yeah. Derrick Jackson
Damn.
eating real. Derrick Jackson eating good. Okay, so Derrick Jackson was the nigga nerd Pookie Ray Ray that figured out give them what they want, tell them what they want, and hustle it and run with it. So he did that for years till he got exposed. I guess he was trying to get a reality show. So when you look at Umar is a Derrick Jackson with the Pan African flag and with the kufi and with the dashiki on. You know, but the difference is he called himself the King Kong of Papa Pizza, or Big Papa, or King Kong of consciousness. And all his donations go to him. He eating good. You don't never see him losing weight. He gained more weight every time you see him. You know, with his little haircut. And then you have, you know, Boyce Watkins is the PhD degree Derrick Jackson, looking like a Ninja Turtle. He looks like Donatello and always smiling and always geeking with some situation. So, you know, at the end of the day, there are different levels of Derrick Jacksons, and they fit all too. So we
Wow.
just don't understand, and that's why they always blame everything on guys. I remember when Tommy, I remember when Kevin, and like he sent the Queen Fly Nubian against the mess with Kevin. He was behind that. He just didn't want to do it because he was scared of the outcome. But he sacrificed her to do it though.
Wow.
And I bet you he ain't paid no money for doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's the challenge I have with these people, man. I mean, that's one of the biggest things. You know, they have a long list of people that they. I mean, why you think you're the new slave master? Like, why you think that you are special and you don't have to pay people? Like, you just can't. You can't live your life like that. There ain't
And it's
nobody
not
on this
fair.
earth to serve you, and that's. I mean, they gonna have to think how
Mm-hmm.
to feed more people, and that's where organizing come in and thinking like, okay, maybe I need to expand beyond the limitations of my PhD, and no,
Right.
my PhD doesn't necessarily mean that I'm an entrepreneur that can create a industry that can employ 10, 20, 50, 50 people.
I'm
And
not.
maybe, yeah,
Yeah. I'm not usually petty, but everybody was picking at Kevin. That's what everybody need to do at Voice. They need to do background research on him because if if Fly Newbie Queen is riding the bus or she live at a certain location, how many people have if he have a PhD degree in finances, why haven't he got none of them people that was so called helping him for free to get big money and big stocks,
yeah,
investments and big wealth? Why they all you know what I'm saying?
wow,
So I mean, because if they saying that if you look up his income or they say he's worth $1 million or he's got $1 million, okay, if that's the case, then
somebody said 7 million.
yeah. So if he's worth all of that, then how the hell all these people working for free? He never paid by Yvette Carnell, and some of them don't have nothing much, but he's living
Right.
good.
Yeah, yeah, no, and some people say people pocket watching or whatever, but I mean, I'm saying when you
If
have
you
people,
ain't about the community, you will help heal the community with
Right.
financial responsibility. Just like when Tyreek helps the community, he helps everybody, man, get money or get the bag. I don't understand that type of mentality.
Right.
So some ain't adding up, some don't sound right, but I'm pretty sure a lot of people's gonna look into it now because see, he opened up a can of worms, and it ain't over yet for messing with Kwame and picking at him and trying to give the dominant society heads up to try to counsel him. But that
Wow.
was wrong to do. He should have
Yeah.
minded.
No, I missed his speech about that. I just saw Kwame Brown's after video response.
Man, he always doing it. He's always having his 2 cents in something instead of minding
Right.
his damn business.
Right. Well, and I think what happens, and I don't know, maybe I don't know how much YouTube pays them or whatever, but
Yeah.
and this I caught on, and it makes sense as I watch part of Michi X, something about timing,
Yeah.
title,
It was like
topic.
three things. Yeah, topic.
Yeah,
And there's
yeah.
this drama
So
of his character. He loves drama.
yeah, so sometimes I wonder, like, why is he talking about Lizzo and Cardi B? And I'm just like, okay, I guess this is like appealing to the ignorant people. I mean, because you feel like you're so isolated or alienated from the people or something, so you feel like you gotta sound like you down or something. So I'm gonna talk about some ignorant shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't spend. I mean, I don't spend time, doing a whole video. Cardi
Right.
B, what Cardi B said. Oh, thank you, Shadow King. Thank you, brother. Um, and now I think about what Michi X said. Okay, so he don't give a damn who he is paying attention. It's just I just want some views. I just want, what I'm saying. So it's just like
Right.
eventually you'll just be a damn comedian, and an entertainer versus a scholar, right?
Of course.
So, and that's
So remember
where
he used to hang with Damon Dash, or he would act like he would hang with Damon Dash. It was boss intelligence, boss intelligence, boss
right,
intelligence. Man, such a financial moist simp. He need to stick with what he claim he know. But I ain't seen him get nobody rich yet. So it's been 4 years. So he claimed he did all this in finance. It is
wow,
what it is. Maybe he married his wife to cover up his other financial powers to be because I heard the girl was suing him for her intellectual property. Who knows? But
mm,
Boyce is sneak. You know what I'm saying? Because you get married and you can do a lot. I mean, he's good in that area. You can just see that he's good at that. You
mm.
know, that's how
Yeah,
Boyce is. I remember some
that's
of how, huh?
no, that's a possibility. That's another angle.
Yeah. I mean, he's very clever in the area of being sneaky with them beady eyes that he got. He got he's like one of the PJs with them damn beady eyes, them glasses. So you can see him looking beady doing something. Oh yeah, let's change this so she can't get her intellectual, because that property he took from that girl, he hustled her out of it. You know what I'm saying? And shared it with his brother. You know,
Right, I
there
recall. I
was
recall.
so many videos going in on him. It was just like, how in the hell in the finances this shit is going on, and you're supposed to be the guy to break down, how to us to be financial literacy, and you need to go back to school and get a PhD degree in dealing with females. Him and his
Really, and what's interesting about that, because I mean, who not? I mean, I think we have to begin to deal with emotional intelligence. Of course,
right.
I mean, there's a whole industry now, with that discusses emotional intelligence, and certainly family development has to be a part of that wealth family legacy analysis. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then now you think about it, like, so, now that he's married, he cuts off his child, like,
Of course.
to his biological child, to unless, I mean, outside of a will,
Right.
because if you marry, accordingly, I mean, in different states are different. So I don't want to put out like I'm a legal scholar, but I know that, for instance, after, death, or, after you, or divorce,
Right.
states have different laws in terms of, who gets what, uh, depending upon,
I mean,
very.
he on Fly Nubian Queen. Wouldn't you think that Vicky Diller should own that?
Well, you would think that
That's
that
wrong, man.
enough,
Hopefully one day she'll
business
wake up. See that.
acumen, enough business acumen to build, something. But it's interesting because she did one of the wealth workshops and at one of his conferences, and I mean, I don't know, but Michi X said, well, how in the hell are you going to be one of the professors and you live, in Section 8 housing or something to that effect? And that really was painful though, because it's just like, man, you've been rolling with him for this long, like, and you haven't come up, like, for real, you giving him all this time or whatever. I'm like, man,
Fill up all his,
maybe they need to join the network marketing company or something.
I know, right? Vicky
Hell,
Diller. Vicky Diller has been his most loyal
right.
person out of everybody and billing him everything up. But I ain't see him go put down a house payment for her or give her, some big cash to make some big moves. And you know what I'm saying? It's kind of sad because Vicky Diller, I know people got a lot of issues and beefs with her, but I only send her love and peace because she's a pawn in this, and she don't even know her well-being, even though she's used as a tool. And it's sad because
Right.
Boyce Watkins is playing on it, and when he's done with her, he'll be finished with her like he has done all the other females, you know what I'm saying, pawns that he has had in the past.
Well, I mean, and now that I think about it,
He
with
remind
what,
me of a Galactus. That's what he remind me of. Just he picked people from different planets and used them for the energy to go out and do work for him, and then after he done with them, he take their power back.
wow. So now that you think about it, I wonder, like, right and exact, when she say that about, the living arrangements, because it would make sense now if you got somebody that's like destitute. Like, I mean, not to say she is, but
I
I
mean,
mean,
look at Yvette Carnell when she said that she got. I don't know. She said I don't know if it was she almost got homeless or evicted
yeah,
because of him.
right, yeah,
And
and
you,
I
yeah,
gotta think, sometimes, I
that's
question
wrong, man.
some of these people's dignity.
She couldn't, had no money in her pocket to do nothing, and that's not
Right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. I wonder, sometimes I question their self-worth analysis. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the problem I'm having. Like, here's the thing. If these people need to go out here and work a job for, first to build themselves up, help them to be, to get a better job as well. Don't, like, preach against people working a
Mhm.
job when
Yeah.
that might be like what they need in a more established company, corporation, where they can add more to what you doing, because you obviously aren't as established. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. He has
That's
the
the
connections, though.
conversations.
He could have gave most of them good jobs. He got a lot of friends in the industry. It ain't like that he don't know anybody. So he can't make
Right.
that excuse either. He knows a lot of information. He's just a selfish, greedy person, and that's petty. And he act like he above people when he acts like that. But in the end,
Right.
he gonna pay for it the most. and he's gonna fall hard because he's been letting people suffer and not be helpful, and he's preaching, pro this and pro that, and don't live up to it. So,
Mm.
people going, the natural society, people are going to make their own choice of thinking. That's just what's going to happen. End of the day, man, we charge you to the game. That's why I don't feel no sympathy for him, and he deserved to get roasted and keep getting roasted. And he gonna be really bad if Kwame and Kevin Samuels and Tommy ever come together. It's over for Voice, because other people, yeah, you know what I'm saying. Red Supreme and Minister Jeff already came together. No one is playing with this anymore. People are tired
Wow.
of people like him empowering the wrong, fools on the internet that just gossip all day and drama out their mouth and bring toxic to the community. And he has done that. People are tired of that.
Right.
The power of tone talks and 808s will never have risen because of him. Michi X wouldn't probably be here to some degree because of Voice, but she got smart enough to say, you know what, motherfucker, I'm not putting up with your bullshit. I'm getting away. That's one thing she did smart. That was smart how she just, and then she
Wow.
annihilated him, because remember he wanted her only because remember he had Zaza and he went after some phase happened with Zaza. He went straight to Michi X because she was on the internet going off one day, and he
Wow.
picked. You know what I'm saying? Because he liked her go getting the energy. But then,
Yeah.
with Michi X, you can't control her because she's kind of gangster and she's free spirit. You're not gonna be able to. She got that Detroit, Detroit energy. That's why I think that's why her and Tyreek really bump heads, because they both from Detroit and they both got
Wow.
Detroit gangster energy, and they both
Mm.
alphas. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Like Detroit people are real, like they with it, and if you fire at them, they'll come at you. So, and she a Pisces, but Voice, man, I ain't feeling bad for him, bro. I don't feel bad
Yeah.
for him at no cost, man. He been doing petty shit, and then the trick part is he put on only women. If you notice that, he ain't put on no guys all these
Yeah.
years.
No.
Why he ain't
And
never put you on?
I'm glad you said.
Yeah,
I'm glad you said. So, and that's and we have to understand male female dynamics, relationships, and in a very mature and responsible way. And no, I'm glad you mentioned that. So Michi X mentioned how he classifies people, and because that's one thing I believe that happened even with my interactions with him. I think sometimes other brothers who are masculine and have some intellectual prowess about themselves and sort of empowered on some levels, instead of attempting to mold or add, it's like he see perhaps people as like a threat, you see what I'm
right.
saying, or like as competition. And
Mm-hmm.
from a male perspective, so he sort of has to somehow ignore you unless he perceives you as having, or what he thinks of you having, like money, like how he thought some people, for instance, at the Power Networking Conference, where I've been
Right.
going the past 7 years, uh, and many of those people have some significant money, so he sort of caters to some of them, but ultimately many of these individuals, they still lack a consciousness, they lack a understanding of global black
Right.
wealth analysis, which we ultimately, many of us need to get global awareness of. So, but I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to prolong this, my brother. We
Oh
I
yeah,
think
we're gonna end this segment, bro.
decent job, but I just want to put out tomorrow for those that see this in the Baltimore area. My brother Eddie, oh man,
Mm-hmm.
I forgot his name. Eddie is doing a real estate investing workshop. It's I'm sorry, not a workshop, it's just a meet and greet, like and that's uh, No, on June the 2nd, not tomorrow, June the 2nd. So it's a free event. So if you're in the Bmore
Okay.
area, downtown St. Paul Street, definitely check it out. But so let's maybe we'll talk about our next topic, my brother. I appreciate the time. It's something we
So
definitely had to deal with this. It's something I have a few other. I got about 3 or 4 Boyce Watkins videos that I did over my life and career. So I'm sorry, but
yeah.
so this
Hey,
was
it is what it
timely.
is.
This was timely. I got a lot of things that I've been wanting to say, and
You
you know,
probably watching.
yeah.
He used to be my idol. Now he my rival. Hey, I ain't got no love,
Yeah.
man. He gave power to the wrong folks on the internet, man. I ain't feeling that.
Yeah, and that's where I appreciate everybody subscribe, like, and share to this page. I wasn't Ace has encouraged me, brother. Black Order Podcast has encouraged me to do more of these videos, so I'm definitely stepping things up. So we're gonna keep it going and do some more breaking out some knowledge. Of course, stay reading, stay getting the knowledge, stay making progress. All right, till next time.
All right,
Peace and blessings. All
all
right,
right.
brother.
Peace, God.
You
Peace.
too. Peace and blessings.